Hi guys, can you hear me? Can you see me? Please leave a message somewhere so I know that it's okay with the connection. Hello. Can anybody see me and hear me? Would you please leave a message in the chat here so I know that it's all okay and we can start? Hello. I believe we have another stream right now on the YouTube which can come with a delay. Just tell me that something's happening. Okay, so if I receive at least one message, I understand that it's all fine. Okay, cool. So let's start. My name is Anna, and I'm going to introduce you to the wonderful world of project management and to the wonderful course on the actual project management, which we are going to start next year, which would help you to gain as much practical knowledge as you can in the field and to understand what actual practical and templated tasks exist there for the project manager. So let's start by, hello, let's start by the organizational questions right now. So I see your messages here in the quick meeting room. I know that there are people watching me on the video. So if you have questions, you can post them anywhere, because if I will not be able to see them here, then somebody from the organizers will just copy paste them to me and I'll be able to answer as soon as I see them. I would like you to ask questions immediately as you have them, so I can pause and then answer the question, and then I can move on. So in that case, you will not forget the thing that you wanted to ask, and in that case, we can proceed in the most efficient manner, okay? So we will spend around 45 to 50 minutes together exploring the actual perks and the actual tasks of the project manager in IT world. And I'm going to present you some of the things that we are going to explore during the course, which is happening next year. And we are going to take a look at the general overview of how the project management world exists right now, what challenges are there, what perks are there, what benefits are there, and the possibilities of your career. But before that, let's get introduced. So my name is Anna. I've got 10 years of managerial experience in IT. I've got plenty of certifications and the diplomas and the I would say higher diplomas on the project management. I worked in lots of different companies, in lots of different organizations, started from small outsourcing companies to huge outsourcing companies. I've launched several startups. I worked with staff and product companies, and all of this experience I gained, and that's what I'm actually sharing with you guys very actively on the conferences and the courses that I have. And I do receive lots of requests for company transformations, even though I don't like that particular word, for helping them to be more agile, to succeed with their processes and ongoing stuff. And besides all that, I love gamification. I love all the things which enable people to do their job in a more efficient and in a more structured manner. I love everything which enables you actually to be even more profound at what you're actually doing. So the TV shows, the podcasts, the books, and everything around all that. So right now I live in Dubai. And the experience which I received since I moved here is a tremendous one, because right now I'm the project manager, IT project manager in a completely non-IT company. So lots of the processes that we will tackle when it comes to the actual tasks of the project manager, they will come from this company, because you will know and you will understand that the project management as such doesn't actually care whether you're working in IT or whether you're building the factory or whether you're launching, I don't know, a spaceship. Because the processes, the risks, the documents, the stages, and the tasks are pretty much the same throughout different spheres and throughout all of the projects that you can encounter. And speaking about the project, so let's start with actually understanding why do we even speak about IT and digital project management, and why do we actually decide to gain more knowledge around it. So right now we live in the so-called fourth industrial revolution, which actually enabled pretty much everybody lots of access to the intelligence, and not only the intelligence which could be received only from one particular domain field, but to the whole intelligence in the world. Because why? Because the third industrial revolution told us and taught us how to compute, how to work with machines, how to know how we can use these machines in order to enable us to do something. And prior to that, there was the second industrial revolution where we had electricity, and prior to that, the first industrial revolution where we had steam. I'm guessing that the fifth industrial revolution will be actually living proof of the artificial intelligence, and we have to prepare to that world where we'll be able to work with actual machines, with actual things and the robotic technologies, which will help us, again, enable us, along with work, to do our job in a better way. And all of these things, they are completely impossible without the proper project management. And for that, we need to understand what project management actually is. And for that, let's take a look at what is project and what is management. So the project as such is a group of milestones or phases, activities or tasks that support an effort to accomplish something. I know that this particular meaning is probably not very known to you, because usually we say that a project is something which is set to perform a specific and unique task, which has a goal, which is surrounded by constraints and borders. Yes, it is, but in general, all of these things, they are groups of milestones or phases and things which we do enable in order to be able to accomplish something. And there is the management. And management is the process of planning, organizational control, and measuring. And if we stick to the three words which are here, planning, organization, and control, this is, I would say, 99.9% the exact duties of every single project manager out there. And the father and the owner and the actual king of project management, who enabled us to do all of these things, was Peter Drucker, and he actually decided that the tasks of project manager would be planning, organization, and control. So if ever you come across Peter Drucker, then you will know that he is known as the father of the modern project management world, even though modern is not where he lived, because he lived like several centuries ago, okay, like 1 century ago, and I would argue to every single state that he said, because right now it's not as modern as he was, as he saw in the times when he was living there. Okay, so we know what the project is, and we know what a management is. So let's dig even deeper into the actual definition of the project, because we can see that there are certain words which can give us some questions and which can give us some hints to what actual project management is, and to the tasks that are there for the project managers. So the collection of single activities carried out in an organized manner with a clearly defined start point and end point. So projects are not internal. To achieve some specific results designed to satisfy the needs of the organization at the current time. This is the exact definition of the project according to Peter Drucker. And the 4 stages: planning, organization, control, and measure. When and what is actually happening in these 4 stages, that is actually the task of the project manager to define where and what and why and for whom actually tasks are going to be accomplished, who will accomplish them, the allocation of resources, the measurement of risks, the management of those risks, dealing with crises. This is not even half of the things that the project manager has to do. And the most important thing in my mind of the tasks for project management, from project manager, is to rule the processes. If all you have is a process hammer, then you have to tie every single project, every single person around that hammer in order to make the whole project a successful one. Because actually the only thing that you can have and which will really determine your success or not in this field is the process hammer. So I know that this definition is not very common used because I just made it up myself, but the idea is that processes, people, processes, tools, these are the things that the project manager has to control and has to lead and has to drive. So when you think about processes, let's decide when do we actually start implementation of our programs, of our projects, and when do we actually employ our first project manager or the person who would work with us on that. So every single company, digital or not, has its own vision. And this vision usually leads the company towards the goal. So we want to achieve something. Probably this goal can be a long term, say 20 years, or this goal can be a short term, say 1 year. We have that goal and we have that vision, so we have to create that path to come to that goal. How do we do that? We define strategy. Usually this is the board meeting with C-level members who decide how we're going to approach this goal that we already have. As soon as we have set and we have decided what we're going to do in order to come there, we have to determine the needs. This is a very interesting question because just a second ago I mentioned people, processes, tools. When we sit and when we define the actual needs of our project or our company or our group of people, we have to understand what people need, what tools in order to work in what processes. As soon as we have defined that, we come to the next stage, which is process and solution. This is your task as a project manager, even though at this very stage you're not developing things yet. You're not building in your teams of developers. You are not walking them through the user stories or whichever task and name you want to give them. You're defining the actual solution that is going to be provided. There are plenty and even more tools how you can do that. At our course, we will discuss every single of them and we will work with every single step which is there for the project manager from the vision of the whole board. And it doesn't actually matter whether your company has 20 employees or 20,000, because in the end you have the same vision, or at least is what your board is supposed to communicate to you. So you as a project manager, you have to understand what processes and solutions you can enable and you can implement, and then you actually start implementing them. As soon as you start the implementation phase, this is actually where you bring the developers in. So if we speak about the IT digital project managers, we work with developers, we work with QA engineers, and also quality assurance engineers. We work with quality control people. We work with designers who can be UI and UX. We work with business analysts. We work with subject matter experts. We work with lots and lots of people. And it is our duty, ours as project managers, to understand who is involved at which stage. Then we have to plan these stages, trainings, the appropriate documents and handling of those documents, and then we approach or not approach our goal. But this is not the end for the project manager. You still have to monitor the project, you still have to maintain it, and you still have to continue working with people to learn how they will be using your product. And you can use pretty much every single tool which exists out there in the world of the project management. And An interesting fact is product management is actually one of the topics that we're going to tackle during the course as well. So design thinking, lean startup, and agile, these are the actual tools, technologies or frameworks or approaches, you can call them whatever you want. We will think and we will work with every single of them. Because us as project managers, yes, there are lots of us in the world, but no, not every single one of us knows how to work with design thinking, for example, because design thinking is known to be a purely product manager's job and product manager's level of competence. But we are going to take some of the tools and some of the templates from design thinking and some of the approaches there. Because if you find yourself in an outsourced company where the customer has no clue what they want, you have to help them to know what they want, and you will be using design thinking. If you're building your own product, if you're working as a project manager in the product company, if you're working in a startup company, you have to know how to work with lean. What is the difference between lean startup and lean manufacturing? Because they are not the same. What's the difference between being lean, going lean, and preaching lean? And of course, we're going to talk and work a lot with everything surrounding the agile development. Under agile, we will work with most used topics with the most used frameworks which exist in agile world. And if you had an idea that this would be it, we would learn how to do the long-term product planning. Because I truly believe that this is our, as project managers, task to know how our product, how our project will integrate to the market, will emerge on the market, or will work with the emerging market. And this is our duty to explain and to prioritize all of the things that can surround our long-term project planning. So we're going to do a lot of things in the course, and a lot of the things may be familiar to you. So at this point, I would like to ask you, do you have any questions as of what is there for the project manager in the world? What competences might be needed? We're going to tackle the competences in just a minute. What ideas you already received from this, I don't know how much, 10 slides that I've shown you. So how do you feel? Shall I continue, or we have questions, or just tell me where you're at? Waiting? Okay. So we know what tasks are there for the project manager. Now we have to understand what competences and what actual blocks of tools and blocks of knowledge our perfect project manager has to have. So on this slide, you can see how these project management competences, how they've been divided into four core, I would say, sections or the rounds of your work as a project manager. What do you have to know? What do you have to do when you are the project manager? So there are some needs and some competences and some level of tasks under the business, I would say, side of your project. So which is the integration management, human resource management, stakeholder management, capital effectiveness management, and procurement management. Something around people, something around contract, something around money, something around the actual way that your project will enter the market and will be perceived or not perceived by your users and your customers. Project manager has to secure the learning curve. What is learning curve? Learning curve is the actual set of things that you have to prepare, that you have to work around, that you have to train people on. When you give them a tool, when you give them a project, they have to not only know that, okay, this is doable, this is usable, they have to know exactly how they may use it and why they may want to use it. So this is the job of the project manager. Then there are some things which surround a project manager's life when it comes to leadership. This is, of course, team leadership, sponsorship and mentoring, health, safety and environment, organization, and ethical behavior. I would like to draw your attention to the sponsorship and mentoring thing, because being a sponsor for your team and being a mentor for your team are not the same things. When you sponsor them, you can have the vision of, say, Madonna. So Madonna, who is the singer, she has her manager. When we think about almost every single artist out there, they have their manager. So think about sponsorship as being the manager for the team, not manager meaning they manage actual duties, but meaning promoting them, meaning being their advocate, meaning doing everything for them to succeed. This is what sponsorship is. Lots of things are connected, as I already said, regarding people to actual personas and actual personnel which you will have in your team. So lots of things around communication and presentation, influence and negotiation, innovations and learning, problem solving, decision making, and the teamwork. And these are the competencies. Don't forget about that word, because right now in 2018 and of course in 2019, more and more companies are leaning towards competence-based interviews. When you're seeing their open position in the market, some years back, you would only send your CV. They would ask you, tell us something about yourself, what is yourself in 5 years, and that's it. But right now, more and more companies are emerging into the competence level interview. Everything which is here, every single item is the competence, which a project manager has to have. And we'll be working on those during our communication next year. So the projects, of course, something to business, something to leadership, something to personal, and something to your project. Scope management, time management, cost management, quality management, and risk management. These are purely project manager's duties. If in some company you can assign somebody else to do the sponsorship or mentoring for the team, which I would not advise, but still you can do that. You can assign somebody to work with your stakeholders, you can assign somebody to work with your contracts, but you cannot assign somebody besides yourself to do the scope, time, cost, quality, and risk management. One of the things which is very interesting here is the actual quality, because I want to underline that quality management is not actual testing. Quality management is not something which you can just click or type or just fill in the test plan with your test results. Quality management is much bigger set of duties, much more bigger set of tasks, document, template, and every other thing that is to be used in order to secure the quality of the product. Quality control is purely testing as is, just comparing what we wanted to receive with our actual results. So competence-based interviews are something which will be happening more and more, and these are the core competencies for the project management. When we continue speaking about the project management as such and the actual life of a project manager, let's take a look at the blocks of how these competencies may arrive. So what is actually the competency and how we can categorize all that? So there is, of course, let's say negotiation competence. So of course there is some knowledge which you gained because of your purely work experience. So this is the ability and expertise to perform the activities within an occupational area. So again, okay, if we speak about the negotiation, so these are your abilities to negotiate which you have received at your past works. Educational level. Again, the academic knowledge and values that you bring to a job when it comes to, if we say, negotiation. So what kind of negotiation techniques probably you have studied. And your skills and characteristics, your capabilities, your personalities, and your actual attitude towards the job. In the coaching world, there is that paradigm that every single employee has to ask to their job, where A stands for attitudes, C stands for skills, and K stands for knowledge. So all of these combined is actually your competence. So the competencies have their main categories and their subcategories, and we will tackle them, of course, in our project when it comes to your actual day-to-day tasks and how they align to the whole competency that the company wants to perceive. Having that said, we know what a project is, we know what competencies we might have to become a successful project manager, we know what tasks we have to perform, we know what things we cannot outsource because these are beyond our tasks. So let's take a look at what can happen next. As soon as you already work as a project manager, what is there for you? Around 40% of all Scrum Masters out there have a project management background. Both Scrum Master and the project manager and the technical lead and the team lead and the product owner, all of these job occupations are so-called leadership occupations, but they are different. And when it comes to actual borderline between being a project manager and being the Scrum Master, these blurred lines are so blurred that in almost every single project out there which enables Scrum, your project manager will be in the position of the Scrum Master. And during one of the lessons in our course, we will speak about the meetings and the way you can facilitate them. Because if I would say that the Scrum Master has only two tasks in their life, the first one is the facilitation of the meeting, and the second one is enabling and empowering the team to be as successful as they can inside the company. So we will know how these blurred lines can actually merge for you as a project manager in the Scrum Master world. So how to understand whether this course is actually something that you will enjoy and how you will grow and how I will mentor you and how I will challenge you. If you speak about every single learning that you have to have, for example, you're studying right now or your second degree, or for example, you are growing right now at your company from one position to another. There are only three ways how you can actually grow. So the first one is the assignmentology, which stands for your actual tasks. What do you actually do? When your boss wants you to grow, there is a chance that your boss will give you, your manager, your supervisor, will give you some tasks which you haven't performed in the past. If it is so, some of these skills and some of this knowledge and the competences which you acquire performing those tasks is the actual learning material for you. You can receive some knowledge and you can grow under coaches and mentors. So during our course, I will be your coach and your mentor for you to strive, to thrive, to grow, to be global, and to be the best version of the project manager that you can be. But how do I do that? I do that via assignmentology and via other learning, where other learning is actually the additional materials that I will supply you with. The video materials, the articles, books, some templates, some things, some articles which are prepared by me. So lots of additional materials, which is here the other learning. When you think about when you compare to your actual workplace, so your boss can help you grow when they give you some tasks, when they coach and mentor you, or when they actually send you to some course. This is your additional learning. I know that for some people who are not very technical savvy or who are not very IT savvy, the idea of the IT project manager position, the idea of whole IT can be perceived as these guys were perceived in the TV show IT Proud, but I understand you, I feel you, and we will tackle that, of course, and I will give you as many examples from the non-IT world as I can in order for you to feel secure. So during the course, we are studying the IT, how to manage IT projects. We will be having your own project at the starting point, but around all that, we'll be surrounded by non-IT examples. So we will be able to understand both IT and non-IT side to that matter. And of course, we will understand how the different positions can merge We will understand what's the difference between product manager and the project manager. We will understand what's the difference between product owner and scrum master. So the perfect example is here on this slide, because you can see that the product manager and the project manager, they are pretty much the positions and the occupations in their professions, whereas product owner and scrum master are the roles which you can have in the project. If this project is following Scrum framework, product owner and Scrum master are the words from Scrum framework. Project manager can perform some tasks of the product owner and can perform some tasks of the Scrum master. But please be aware that they cannot do both. My personal perspective to that is that a project manager can be a successful Scrum master, but it is very, very, very difficult for the project manager in the same project to be the product owner. Because Scrum master is the actual role for the processes, for the organization, for the planning, for the control, and for the team. Whereas product owner deals with user stories, deals with the actual tasks for your project, and deals with the actual things that you have to develop. And he has to say that, yes, this is exactly what I planned or not. Some of the things which product manager does, of course, they relate to the product owner, but let's check. The product owner has nothing to do with pricing. The product owner has nothing to do with market communications, because the product owner is all about the product and the requirements for that product. And I will give you some hints. For example, one of the hints is here. So you will have this presentation after we finish. And here is your actual Scrum framework, how you manage stages of a project in agile manner, even though you're following the classical approach. So some steps, they are classical, say plan the project, prepare for the project, the phases which you can see on this slide, so they come from the traditional classical project management world, but the small steps, the user stories, the plannings, the retrospectives, the daily stand-ups, these things, they actually contribute to our classical world to merge in the perfect manner so you can benefit from both these worlds. So this is a very handy slide, so I would highly recommend you to print it out and just to have it as a reference. Oh, I have another project sheet, what I have to do. So you have your plan already prepared. So far, so good? Again, just bring it on if you have anything to add. Meeting. Okay, if we have no questions, then let's proceed to our actual curriculum and our course composition. What do we have? How do we work? What examples do we see? How do we know how to enable ourselves when it comes to, okay, I have some lessons to learn, I've got some home tasks to do, who can support me, and so on and so on. So in the course, we will work with the theory which has been purified, which means that we will work with that theory which will be useful for you in your projects. And on again. Hello, where's my video? This will have 1 second, guys. I'm sorry, something happened to my video. my Mac. I'm sorry. I somehow lost control over my camera and then over the actual meeting room. Okay, so we stopped at our contents of the course and our curriculum and all of the things which actually exist in the tough life of project manager. So we will tackle the matrices. We'll work with metrics. We'll work with different documents. This is the example of one of the documents that the project manager has to prepare when it comes to the resource allocation. So this is called the RACI matrix, where each letter out of 4 stands for your resource and the responsibilities or the allocation of this actual person to this actual task. This is what we'll do in the course, and I highly recommend you do all of the home tasks which we will have for you to be always up to date when it comes to what is there for your actual project. Because as I promised you earlier, we will have our project, our things that we are working with. So our actual, I would say, pet project, which we will develop during the course, is a very good addition to your portfolio when it comes to what you actually know. Do you know how to write this or that document? Do you know what's the difference between the resource management plan and the resource allocation plan, or the budget management plan, or the cost management plan? So all of these things, they are there in the life of a real project manager, not the coordinator, and we'll be able to work with them throughout our course. What makes this course different from the other ones is the actual sessions which we will have, where we will do lots and lots of practice. So every single lesson that we will have is not about you watching a movie, or it's not about you just sitting tight in your chair and just listen to me talk. We're going to do practice. We're going to practice on all of the things that are there for the project managers. We are going to do some parts of documents on the lesson. We are going to do some parts of the actual planning and the risk management. We are going to do, and we're going to practice. And one of the coolest examples of how we are going to practice is here, because the thing which I promised you, the addendum to your project management career, is the product stuff. So the canvas and the planning, which you can see right now on the screen, is actual tools, is actual big chunk of tools from product management life, from the things that enable you as a project manager to know what you're doing with the product and what product you're actually developing. So we are going to do lots of that, and we are going to practice, and we are going to do home tasks. And the support. If I could say, if I could name one single feedback that I received throughout all of my courses that I've had in my life, is the support that I give to my students. So I'm always available. I don't know how that happens, but whenever you write, I answer. Whenever you feel you have your fork in the road, we're always in the constant loop. And whenever you have to perform, I will help you do your best to perform. So please take the chance. Please follow the lead of every single tutor, even if it's not me. So if you don't join my course, then whichever course you join, please work with your tutor. Ask them questions, give them some tricks, give them some cases that they will help you to work with. Because the actual time that you spend with your tutor, the actual time that you spend in the course and after it with the real person who has taken all of the leads, who has taken all of the chances in that career, is the most precious thing that you can have. And we will have exam, of course. Our last lesson will be the exam session. Right now, you can see 4 questions which actually constitute your exam. You will have around 20 of them. You will have some cases. And these are the examples of the things that you will be able to know you will be able to answer after we succeed our course. The actual question number 3, how do you understand configuration management, is one of the questions that I ask potential candidates to the project management positions if I interview them. And I was very much surprised that, I don't know, 8 from 10 candidates didn't know what that was. Whereas this is your job as a project manager. Why there are so many courses in the world, so many training programs in the world, learning how to become a successful project manager. What makes this particular set of sessions, what makes me different, is the attitude, is the knowledge, and is the atmosphere that we will have. So we'll be working sometimes in groups, sometimes individually, and each of you will bring their best capabilities to the overall project succession, the way it is actually done in the real life with real project managers. In the case, if you follow every step that I show you, in case if you do all the tasks, in case if you answer all of the questions and ask me lots of questions, you will definitely know that you will have the hard and soft skills that are needed for being a project manager. You will know the methodologies, metrics, and technologies which exist right now. You will know which necessary documentation has to be there in your bucket or in your portfolio if you're the project manager. You will know how to deal with real-life cases. You will receive the certificate. And you will understand the workflows and the processes which exist around different projects in different companies. And of course, you will receive the answers to all of the questions that you've been looking for. Some people say that studying is the risk-taking because there is something which you're not aware of right now, and you have to take that leap to gain that knowledge. And of course, sometimes it is better to feel safe in your zone where you are right now and just to feel that you are grounded and that's it. But I would deeply encourage that you take that leap and you continue studying, because I've got some inside knowledge that in 2 years there would be not enough project managers in Europe. Some things happen, some companies emerge, some companies disappear, the levels of knowledge change, and the qualifications and the actual set of tools which exist there for project managers expands, and really somehow the market will have a tremendous shortage of real people. Everything that we do, every single lecture will be deep as your product backlog. So you can use this slide when it comes to definition of your product backlog. So you see, as soon as you receive this presentation, there are some hints and some highlights which you can even use even if you don't join the course. So there are lots of tips and tricks which I already shared with you. So we will do with detailed documents. We will deal with estimated tasks, how we can work with them. We will deal with emergent cases, and every single thing that we do on the lecture, on the actual lesson, will be prioritized according to your needs. And of course, you will have me as your go-to expert who will be able to answer and give you many insights. And the most important thing, I would give you feedback. I'll be giving you feedback to every single thing that you do. And in the end, you will have a ground, profound, and whatsoever set of knowledge around what it takes to be a successful project manager. I'm so sorry once again for the thing which happened to my camera. I guess you took that time to enjoy your break. So right now, I'm open to the questions as of the project manager's life, as of the career, as of the possible path that you may take, and everything which is out there for the project managers. So please bring it on. If you have no questions, then I would thank you for your attention and we would end this just right. So tell me. So the course has 6 weeks, and we'll be working twice a week, which means that we will work for 24 hours total. So we have 12 sessions for around 2 hours. How many people are planned to be in the course? The ideal size of the group is like 12. Sometimes we can increase it to 14, but the ideal is 12. The perfect one, the most efficient one. Olga, I would say that this course is perfectly suitable for somebody who is already working as a project manager, not only because you're going to have your questions answered, but because you're going to have your knowledge structured. Some of the things which you already do very successfully may come from your gut instinct or from things that you just know how to do. Whereas I will tell you how to do them in a structured manner according to the processes and the books or tools or whatsoever in the classical, in the real structured world of project management. So yes, answered your question, yes. So the price of the course is actually something that I don't have knowledge of. So that is up to the organizers, because I assume that they would be having lots of good promotions for the ones who enrolled after the webinar. So I would ask the organizer just to contact you just right now. Yeah. Cool. So if we have no further questions, I would say thank you for your attention. Do reach out to me here, as you can see on the slide. I've got many different channels, many different topics to speak about, and I would be very happy to see you, my soon to be new and soon to be very, very efficient and very useful for your course of the life of project managers. And it starts next year, so you do have some time to think. But again, the first come, first serve. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry for the webcam issues. It happens. So enjoy your evening. Bye.